Yes, now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Thomas Fans YouTube channel. Let's quickly talk about Monday Night Raw, and I've got some good things to talk about. You can see I've got a smile on my face because I've just watched Monday Night Raw, and I am happy with the results. I mean, there's plenty of times where I'll watch Monday Night Raw, NXT, and SmackDown, and most of the shows they'll be good. There's never really a bad show. It's rare that they get a bad show. If there is a bad show, it's normally Monday Night Raw because it's a disappointing show. And none of the shows are bad though, and occasionally we might have a show that's exceeded the others. But this is a great start to the week. I mean, it is Thursday, but I've just watched it and that started the week, and that's a great start to the week. I'm loving the way they're booking talent on Monday Night Raw. I'm loving the match quality and the storytelling that doesn't always involve championships, that is great in itself. And let's just get into it, man. I mean, kicking off the show, we had the whole Rhea Ripley, Kabuki Warriors, Io Sky situation. Rhea Ripley came out to address last week, called out Asuka and Kairi, and Io Sky actually came out. And despite the fact that the Kabuki Warriors turned on her last week, she said she still loves them. They are still like family. And she didn't want to engage in a fight straight away. And that's when Asuka came up on the screen with Kairi and cut a promo. And she said how Io is family, and Io has a chance to redeem that. All she has to do is admit Asuka was right and apologise. Whereas there's no going back for Rhea Ripley, and Asuka is going to come for Rhea Ripley. And that's when Rhea said, "You can go to hell, Asuka." And she tried to talk some sense into Io Sky, and Io Sky said, "I need more time." As Io Sky was exiting to the back, the Kabuki Warriors attacked Rhea Ripley. And you can tell Kairi Sane doesn't really have a problem with attacking Rhea Ripley, but it's attacking Io Sky is where she's concerned. Io was standing on the ramp, debating whether to go fight her family to save Rhea Ripley or leave Rhea Ripley in order to not fight her family, but she chose the right thing. She went to fight the Kabuki Warriors, and it ended up in her getting misted and the pair of them getting beat up. Kabuki Warriors left the on the upper hand. We cut to later on in the night. Io Sky is getting looked at by the medical group, and Kairi Sane addresses her. Io Sky says, go away. She's no longer in this apologetic, we're still family thing. She tells her to go away. And before Kairi does go away, because Kairi's clearly being manipulated by Asuka, she leaves a photo with Io Sky. That photo has all three of them on. She's trying to dig it in the brain of Io Sky that, look, we can be something. And there's still the chance, because that's what she mentioned, that there's still the chance, and she still can't apologise to Asuka. And it was only later on, when Rhea Ripley came up to Io Sky, that Io said she spoke to Adam Pearce. They confirmed the match for Crown Jewel. We're getting Rhea Ripley teaming up with Io Sky against Asuka and Kairi Sane. Now, my pros and cons for this. My pros, I mean, we're getting Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, Asuka, Kairi Sane, four incredible talents, two who are already over, two who need to be over more. Getting them all in the match. We're utilising the Kabuki Warriors great, and this is going to be a great match. My cons, I mean, Crown Jewel, yes, it's a big enough pay-per-view. We have champion versus champion twice. We have AJ Styles, John Cena. It's a big PLE. However, in Rhea Ripley's home country, to have her in a tag team match, I don't know how well that's going to go over. But they're going to be happy to see Rhea Ripley regardless, and Io's over. My question is, what's going to happen with this storyline? What's going to happen to Crown Jewel? Is Rhea Ripley and Io Sky going to overcome the Kabuki Warriors and eventually try to weed Kairi Sane out of that manipulation from Asuka? And Asuka's probably going to go down her own route. Or is Io Sky going to fall for the trap that Kairi and Asuka are setting for her? Is she going to turn on Rhea Ripley and we're going to get a dominant heel trio, including Io Sky? I'd prefer not, because Io is doing great work as a heel, as a face, and I don't think we need that. But yes, that is some great work that I've been seeing doing. Speaking of great work, I mean, Bayley, these last few weeks, I mean, last week, she beat Roxanne Perez and wanted Lyra in her corner, and then when Lyra came to celebrate with her, she attacked her. This week, Bayley came in again, acting all friendly, and Lyra says, "No, I'm not falling for that." Bayley apologises. Bayley then welcomes her to come out to the ring. Lyra turns it down. So Bayley has a lack of confidence now, and she has to go out there and face Raquel Rodriguez. And thanks to the shenanigans of Roxanne Perez, Raquel Rodriguez beats Bayley. Now, here's my issue, right? Because Lyra had a match with each one of them, and now Bayley did. Lyra lost to Raquel Rodriguez, but Lyra beat Roxanne Perez. Bayley beat Roxanne Perez and lost to Raquel Rodriguez. Great for Raquel Rodriguez, and terrible for Roxanne Perez. Roxanne Perez is a former NXT Women's Champion. Like, so is Raquel Rodriguez, so is Bayley, so is Lyra Valkyria, right? But Roxanne Perez should not be treated like that. And I'm not one of these people that says everyone has to win, but Roxanne Perez needs to win at some point, because we're forgetting the significance Roxanne Perez had in NXT. We're forgetting how big of a talent Roxanne Perez was in NXT. I'm hoping she gets a win at some point. I'm not saying she needed to beat Bayley or Lyra Valkyria. I agree with them winning that match. I don't agree with Raquel winning both times. I feel like Lyra could have beat Raquel. I mean, this week it made sense because Lyra wasn't there to back up a Bayley. Bayley had a lack of confidence. And obviously after the match they started attacking, and then that led to the eventual Lyra Valkyria succumbing to it and coming to help Bayley. And they chased them out there, and Bayley got along with that. Bayley, although while being slightly psychotic, celebrated with Lyra for helping her beat up Judgment Day, because Bayley went full psychotic. On Judgment Day this time, she used that psycho side of her to attack the Judgment Day and not Lyra Valkyria, so she was able to get along with that. And it's just been announced now that next week we will get Lyra Valkyria versus Roxanne Perez coming off the back of this. And I just think why. We've done all the combinations of singles matches here, which I love. I love that. I love that we've done Lyra versus Roxanne, Lyra versus Raquel, Bayley versus Roxanne, Bayley versus Raquel. But why we're doing Lyra versus Roxanne again, it makes no sense. Do the tag team match. Do Lyra and Bayley versus the Judgment Day in a tag team match. That makes more sense, and I'd much rather see that. Plus, that would be the match we were supposed to see at WrestleMania, and we never got to see. Do you see how that's a much bigger match than having Lyra versus Roxanne face off again? It's a much bigger match, isn't it? Exactly. Someone put me in the booking position. I don't know, maybe, if there's a fallout, maybe that match might happen at Crown Jewel, or might happen in a later week. I don't know. But personally, that's how I would book it from this standpoint. Let's get into some more women's action. Yes, there's more. As we know, Maxine Dupree has been silent for about 2 years. I mean, she's been popping up in little segments here and there with Alpha Academy. And last week she asked for a match, or last week or the week before, she asked for a match with Adam Pearce. And I'm hoping WWE was going to book Maxine Dupree. And it made sense the way she asked, because she said, look, no one really gives me a chance. I need a chance. And, you know, they're not just sweeping it under the rug, the fact that they haven't used Maxine Dupree, because she's not been, I mean, I'm pretty sure she's been trained to wrestle since she's been in WWE. I think she came in as a creative character first, if I'm not wrong. So she ran into Becky Lynch, and Becky obviously tried to make fun of her being the heel that she is. And Maxine said she was hoping it was Becky Lynch, because if Becky truly is the best in the world, like everyone says, which Becky then alluded to, then Maxine Dupree would love to face Becky Lynch. It would prove what she's been trying to say to Adam Pearce. And then she chose to dig at Becky Lynch and say, AJ Lee doesn't think you're the best in the world, because obviously AJ Lee tapped her out. That's when Becky got a bit annoyed, and instead of taking her aggression out on Maxine Dupree, took it out on Akira Tozawa, punched Akira Tozawa in the face and dropped him. Obviously making Becky Lynch look tough, because she's just knocked down a man. I mean, obviously there's a gender difference there biologically. And then making Maxine Dupree look tough as well for standing up for that man. And she being the alpha in that situation and being like, back off Tozawa. Which makes no sense, because Maxine Dupree, don't even know if she's ever won a singles match. Meanwhile, Akira Tozawa is a former Cruiserweight champion, but we'll just make him a jobber now. And then eventually Becky Lynch came along and beat her up. Where's Otis? Where's Natalia? What we're doing. Anyway, Becky Lynch beat her up. And that's a match we're now getting next week. And obviously Maxine isn't going to win it, but I'm glad they're utilising her. I'm glad they're putting her in the atmosphere, you know. You've got these talents, use them. There's plenty of people on the shelf right now Do you know what I mean? So use your talent. Eventually, she then walked off and met up with her husband, Seth Rollins. And just before he was about to go out, she asked if he needed anything. He didn't. He went out to address the WWE Universe and address Cody Rhodes on the upcoming WWE Crown Jewel match. And he had a go at the fans about how they don't recognise Seth as the future, you know? I mean, we had a video package earlier on in the night explaining the first part of this feud between Cody and Seth. And I feel like they missed the mark a bit. They could have went back to 2012 to 2014 when, you know, Cody and, well, I think it was 2013, 2012, 2013, when Cody Rhodes was teaming up with his brother Goldust, and he was having a feud with the Shield. They had quite a big feud with the Shield. Cody and Goldust won some, the Shield won some. They could have went all the way back there, but they didn't. They just started to when Cody returned to the company in 2022, got a win over Seth, and it was both men narrating the story, but from their point of view. I mean, Cody seen it as this was a massive moment for him. Seth seen it as Cody had an advantage of the fact that it was an unknown opponent. And then they both talked about Backlash, where again, Cody got another win, but Seth seen it as a cheap win because Cody rolled the tights, even though Seth tried to roll the tights, but Cody won by rolling the tights. And then there was Hell in a Cell, where Cody describes it as his most painful night, but he got the third win over Seth Rollins, and Seth said that was the night he earned his respect. And Seth addressed the WWE Universe, not about this video package, but it adds to this. And he goes, look, I get it. Cody's got the 3 wins, and I've got the 3 losses, but it means nothing. Because that was 3 years ago. That was in the past. That Seth Rollins, despite how great he is in the past. That Cody Rhodes, despite how great he is, was in the past. That was 2 men chasing the top of the mountain. Now they're both at the top of the mountain. And while chasing that stardom, Cody might have got the win. While they are on top, Seth is saying he's going to get the win. But he's addressing the foolishness of the crowd by saying, you don't support me. You support Cody. You think Cody is your guy. Because he went off somewhere else when shit got tough in WWE and he became the guy. And then he came back here 10 years later when the company was on and up. When it was in the golden era that Seth himself built and became your champion. Meanwhile, Seth was here when the company was going through the shit and he put that company on his back and he carried it through the mud, which I agree he does. Not just him. I mean, we have people like Roman Reigns. You know, there's plenty of people. AJ Styles was one of them. We have plenty of people who were like that, but Seth was probably the biggest one for that because he was consistent, you know. He wasn't great every now and then. He was consistently good, right? So Seth put the company on his back and carried it through that mud and brought it to the golden era it is at today. Before and now, still on top. And the people don't respect him. Why? Because he takes a bold leap. He has a vision for the future. He recognises the intelligence of Paul Heyman and the stardom and success of himself. And he knows he can use that experience between the pair of them to not only hold down the fort right now, but build a better future for WWE for when they are gone, for when Paul Heyman is no longer around and Seth Rollins has to retire. And he sees that in Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, 2 men who don't carry themselves with the same intelligence or experience as Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins, but have the skills to back it up in the ring. And that's his vision. And he's working on the future for the fans, but they don't appreciate him. They'd rather Cody as their champion. That's why Seth was getting annoyed. And I felt his pain. Do you know what? I felt it for him. I agreed with him. I thought, you know what? Seth Rollins is a go because that is a killer promo. And Cody Rhodes came out and said, it's not about that. It's about the fans. You know, typical fucking face bullshit. I hate it, right? But there was one interesting thing Cody Rhodes said. And then he mentioned how Braun and Bronson came to SmackDown and he thought Seth didn't give that order. And he feels like Paul Heyman made that order. And Seth said, no, I made that order. Everything goes through me. And Cody says, oh, really? Everything goes through you, does it? Did you give the order for Paul Heyman to announce Brock Lesnar? And it looked like it touched a bit of a nerve because it wouldn't make sense for Seth to give that order. Seth and Brock have never been cool, and Brock does not fit in the vision whatsoever. So obviously it wouldn't make sense. And Seth again just denied the claim, said, look, everything goes through me. And left it at that. And yeah, he kind of left it at, Cody, you can say what you want about the past. You can say what you want about me teaming up with you at WrestleMania 40. He claimed that was the lesser of two evils, and if we do look back to WrestleMania 40, Seth and Cody had to call a truce. Yeah, they were not friendship. There was no friendship. Seth Rollins called a truce with Cody Rhodes because he had enough of Roman Reigns' reign, and he agreed to team with him at WrestleMania to put an end to it. Yes, they shook hands after, but that was because Seth had been through a lot. But there was no friendship. But Seth agreed. He said, look, your 3 wins, our partnership, put it behind me. Because after Crown Jewel, I'm going to build a new story, a new future. Because once I beat Cody Rhodes, I am the guy. I am the champion of champions. There will be no denying Seth Rollins, and he can build his vision and build his future. And that, I feel like the way he killed that promo was just cold. It was just cold. And he beat Cody in a promo battle. And I believe Seth Rollins could do that any day of the week. Cody Rhodes is a great wrestler and a great promo artist, but Seth Rollins is on another level. Just close the debate. Seth Rollins is better than Cody Rhodes. Like it or not, but it's true. And I loved that. I loved it. And one last little bit about Seth Rollins is there was a bit of a moment before Braun and Bronson walked out for the main event, before Paul walked them out, and Seth just looked concerned, and it was, what's wrong, Seth? And it's, I have to beat him. And Paul Heyman was like, of course you're going to beat him. But Seth had a real realization, like, no, I have to beat him, because if he doesn't beat Cody Rhodes, it's going to disprove everything Seth Rollins has been going after. And it's very interesting. I love the way, not just WWE, but Seth Rollins tells the story. Now, I would go into the match with Braun and Bronson, but I'm going to save that for the end because I don't want you to click off knowing that I've talked about the main thing. Let's talk about some other things that happened. Obviously, we had Dominic defending the Intercontinental Championship against Rusev, which is quite an interesting one. I mean, Finn and JD left him by himself. They feel like after Dom's been denying their help, they might just leave him on his own. And I thought there'd be some involvement from El Grande Americano and Los Americanos, but there was not. And this is what I liked about this episode of Monday Night Raw, is the action was hard. The action was hard hitting. Yeah, it was though. Rusev was made to look like a strong man. Dominic was made to look like a weasel of a champion. I mean, the way Rusev was throwing Dominic around, it was great. And the finish of the match was a clever one. I mean, Dom hit Rusev with a 619, didn't land the frog splash. Rusev moved. Rusev hit the match car kick. Dom had his one piece of stardom where he kicked out with that. And then before you could hit the accolade, Dom pushed Rusev towards the referee, tried to, escape the accolade, tried to run off with the belt. Rusev stopped him. Dom used the belts as a distraction to give to the referee after trying to, pretend to hit Rusev with the belt. Referee took one of the belts. Dominic had the Intercontinental Championship, hit Rusev with the belt. It did absolutely nothing. Dom then tried to do the Eddie Guerrero, chucked the belt at him, dropped to the floor. Ref saw it happen. He said, look, mate, I saw you cheat. So then when he tried to put the belt to the outside, Dominic ran up to the referee, grabbed the referee, being scared of Rusev. Rusev tried to grab Dominic, and then that's when Dominic hit that low blow from behind without the referee seeing, rolled up Rusev, and got the win. I didn't mind it. This was entertaining. It was a clever way to get the win because Rusev is obviously much more powerful than Dom, and with no help, there's no way Dom's going to get that without cheating. And it also sets up a rematch in the future because I feel like for Rusev, they've done well to build him. And I feel like to have this Intercontinental title opportunity that he's obviously not going to win, I don't want it to kill his momentum. So the fact that he can keep chasing it and potentially get a rematch in the future is going to be great, and it's going to do great things for him. As for the tag team champions, I don't know why they're not doing anything. It doesn't make sense. We have so many tag teams. We have the New Day. We have the War Raiders. Even then, we've seen enough matches between them and the Judgment Day. We have the LWO, who had a random shot and then have had none since then. We have the Creed Brothers. And now we have Braun Bronson and the Usos. Make it make sense. We could have a banging tag team division on Monday Night Raw. Currently, on SmackDown, one of the tag teams got taken down because Andrade left the company. One of the tag teams got taken down because Elton Prince got injured. Raw could have a great tag team division. I don't know what we're doing about it, but Judgment Day, man. Not even Judgment Day. WWE, get the Judgment Day in some tag team matches. Defend those tag titles. We could have a great division, but you're not recognising the potential. But about the tag division, the New Day, they went to Adam Pearce about getting a tag team opportunity because they said, you refused to ban the Mexican Destroyer after it put Grayson Waller in the hospital. And I'll be honest, I believe that one put him in the hospital. I believe that one caused him an injury because the intensity on that Mexican Destroyer was insane. But when they were chasing this tag team rematch, and Adam Pearce once again told them to earn it because they have had a rematch and they did lose, but they need to earn another one. I think, did they have a rematch? I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking of the match where they did lose the titles. But this was interrupting LA Knight, who was trying to chase down a world title opportunity. He was done with Jey Uso. He didn't care about it anymore. He was the last person to beat Seth Rollins. Never got the match for the title. And he's trying to chase it. This led to an eventual matchup between LA Knight and Kofi Kingston, which was a nice addition. A match I didn't expect to see, but I'm glad I've seen it. LA Knight got the win. It is what it is. I mean, he beat a former world champion. If he ever has merit to face a world champion now, if he didn't before, he does now. He's beat Rollins, hasn't got a shot at the title yet. And then he's beat a former world champion, still not got a shot at the title. LA Knight deserves a one-on-one shot at the title, and so does CM Punk. I'm here to say it. But anyways, back to the tag team action. Another tag team who could potentially go after titles. Well, we'll have Los Americanos now, who obviously look like Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate, Newcastle Republic. So if they ever get unmasked, there's another tag team to go after titles. But they teamed up against AJ Styles and Dragon Lee. And we've got names for them now. It's like Bravo and Rios or something like that. Bravo's the blue one, who I think is Tyler Bate, and Rios is like Rio. I don't know. That one's clearly Pete Dunne. And before the match started, this is weird that they did it before the match, but they did it before the match. Dragon Lee said he's now the number one contender for the AAA title, so he's going to get that shot at Dominic Mysterio. And obviously this feud with El Grande Americano and the Los Americanos stemmed from the feud with Dominic Mysterio, so Dragon Lee's going to be great. Going to be happy to finally get his hands on that, and I'd love to see Dragon Lee contend for the Intercontinental Championship as well. That's a perfect Intercontinental Championship contender, really. And then AJ Styles thanked the fans for making the Crown Jewel match with John Cena possible, because it literally is because we wanted it that was possible. Because I mean, John Cena said it himself in a promo and did it recently in his match. The fact that he said people like AJ Styles, who I'm not going to get to face, he said that, and then he used the Styles Clash as paying homage. But now we're getting it because the fans wanted it that bad, so he thanked us for that. But then him and Dragon Lee kept alluding to the fact that it made a good tag team, and I thought they were going to say we should, since we're feuding with Dom, feuding with El Grande Americano, we should go after the Judgment Day. But they didn't say that. But I feel like they should, and I feel like I'd like it. Even if AJ and Dom didn't win the titles, or even if they did and held them for a week, it would be nice to see. I wouldn't mind AJ and Dragon Lee going after the tag titles. Why not? They're not obviously going to stay a tag team. It's just something to do. And if they're not going to give AJ Styles a world title or a mid-card title, like a Intercontinental title before he retires, I'll take a tag title. Just give AJ Styles a big win. This is what I mean. John Cena's retiring, but so is AJ Styles next year, so I'm not bothered who wins this match at Crown Jewel. Obviously, if I had to pick, I'd pick John Cena because he's my goal, but I'm honestly not bothered because both men could deserve that win and need that win, really. But anyway, AJ Styles and Dragon Lee got the win over Los Americanos quite easily. Nice, fun match to watch. No complaints. I'm glad they're actually utilising them and they're thinking smartly about the El Grande Americano feud. I just hope there's a come full circle and like a proper culmination ending to this where Chad Gable comes back, all the versions of El Grande Americano get unmasked, all this stuff. I'm waiting for it. But the moment you've all been waiting for, except for a little face-off between Stephanie and Tiffany Stratton backstage, which we don't really need to cover because it's not important. Literally just promo for Crown Jewel. The moment you've all been waiting for, the main event. Braun and Bronson versus the Usos. The Usos came out with the rafters to the old theme. That was the best part about it. And we'd seen them on earlier in the night, not getting along as per usual, but they came out to the old theme as a tag team. And now, people look at these days, right? We see Jimmy botch a lot, we see Jay botch a lot. And we all think, how did they get to this position? But before they were in that position, we wanted them in that position. Why? Because as a tag team, they functioned so well in the ring. Their chemistry is on point. And maybe as solo superstars, they've not meshed as well. Why? Maybe because they haven't been used to it. And it's been quite the adjustment. And it's kind of changed their timings and their rhythms in the ring. Maybe being a tag team, what was either trained into them or was best for them. But it showed on this night. I mean, there was a couple like dodgy moves and dodgy landings from Jey Uso, but the chemistry in that ring tonight was fantastic. And coming out to the old theme, Jimmy wearing the old attire, it made sense. It felt like 2017, 2018, 2019, even 2022 when they had that run. It felt like I was watching one of the greatest tag teams of all time, like I was years ago. And it's lovely to know that the Usos and the New Day, when they were feuding, I lived through the two greatest tag teams of all time. Say what you want about Dudley Boys, Hardy Boys, Edge Christian, you can say this is controversial. The New Day and the Usos will go down as the two greatest tag teams of all time for the matches they put on and the longevity they've had. It is out this world, and it was nice to see them not just reunited, because they've never really fought, well, they have fought now, but not like, reunited in a tag team match as a tag team. It was brilliant. And not only that, but Braun and Bronson also did this. They now have a new attire. They have a logo. They came out with studded jackets on. And this match was my match of the night for this week. I mean, the chemistry between the Usos was there. And the moves in this match were hard-hitting thanks to Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker. We know Bron Breakker gives us all when he dives and runs and hits things heavy. And Bronson Reed's just a big guy, and these guys are perfect for the ring, and I see the vision. I see the vision because it's true. That was the best match. When we want to see people get slammed, we want to see people get slammed. We don't want to see them half land on their feet and half hit the ground and pretend to be hurt. We want to see them get slammed. That's what Braun and Bronson were doing for us in this match. And they were the real MVPs, and it got to the point where they were dominating the Usos. They were actually ripping them to pieces. And that's when Roman Reigns came back. And I was like, what the hell? Roman Reigns came back, obviously, off after he beat Bronson Reed and got attacked and got beat up. We've not seen him since Clash in Paris. And he came back with a steel chair in the tornado tag, which I thought you could still get disqualified in, but apparently you can't. And he came and beat up Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker and chased Bronson Reed out of there and then beat the hell out of Bron Breakker until they were both gone. But obviously, before that, letting Usos get the win. The Usos used their finisher as well. They did the super kick to the floor and then they did the double splash. I'm not talking the one day they did a couple years ago. I'm not talking when they gave up on doing the double splash and just one person splash. They did the double splash that they haven't done for about 5 years. I love to see it. You love to see it. It's amazing. I was so happy they did that. And and then to close the show, Roman was celebrating with Jey Uso, congratulating him, saying, see, this is what I told you. Because the advice Roman gave Jey is the reason Jey has not been saving LA Knight, not been getting along with Jimmy Uso, because he's been focused on himself, and that's how you win. And Jimmy disagrees with it. And you could see that in the background, because while Roman Reigns was praising Jey Uso, Jimmy was sat there, not getting any praise from Jey or Roman, just shaking his head, because it's Roman putting these ideas in Jey. And maybe we're going to get some family feud, some family affair, some family story. Maybe Roman's going to put Jimmy on the same stuff he's got Jey on, because Jimmy's the only one who has not had any solo success out of that Anunnaki family, apart from Tongaloa and Tamatonga, but who gives a shit? You know what I mean? And what was interesting here was that Seth Rollins was backstage with Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed before they came out, and he didn't come out to help when Roman Reigns came out. And I think that's interesting, because I think they're going to be saving that for later, right? Because we've had Roman Reigns, Bronson Reed at Clash in Paris, obviously to put Bronson Reed over, but Roman Reigns is a big star. He has big matches, and they really want to utilize this properly. And I feel like We had a tag team match. Roman faced Braun and Bronson in the tag team. He faced Bronson Reed on his own he's put them over as a tag team. You know, putting them, anyone being in a match with Roman Reigns propels their career. So he's propelled them to as a tag team by putting them in a match with Roman and Jay. He's propelled Bronson Reed as a solo superstar by being in the match with Roman Reigns. Next is Braun Breaker. It's a dream match. We've all wanted to see it. Might happen at Crown Jewel. Might happen somewhere later down the line, maybe Saturday Night's Main Event or Survivor Series. But next we're going to see Roman Reigns, Braun Breaker, and it's going to propel Braun Breaker as a solo superstar. And then the next move would be the Bloodline versus Division. Now this is something I can get behind because it's 3 versus 3. Makes a lot of sense. Now obviously the Roman's going to win most of these matches until it comes down to the Division versus the Bloodline. This is when the Division will get the win. And then there's one thing left to do. It's Roman versus Seth. When's that going to happen? It's going to happen WrestleMania. It's going to happen for the world title. Roman's winning the Royal Rumble. Not Sami Zayn. I know it's in Saudi, but Sami Zayn is currently the United States champion. He might not be United States champion by the time the Royal Rumble comes around, but he doesn't just jump from mid-carder to winning the Royal Rumble just like that. I feel like Saudi, although they'd like someone who represents their culture and represents their country, they also like the big money and the big throws, and Roman Reigns is that. And it makes perfect sense. If Roman Reigns has got a year left, I agree. We can put Sami Zayn back 2 years. Build him up. Roman Reigns is winning that Royal Rumble and he's facing Seth at WrestleMania. But not before we've had the Bloodline versus Division and we've had a Roman versus Braun Breaker. But I'm loving all the different avenues we can go down. That's what is so great about this episode of Monday Night Raw. I've ranted for half an hour about it because everything was good. It referenced the past very well. It represented now very well, and it represented what we could have in the future very well. Fantastic episode of Monday Night Raw. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.